not always bad. Stress is good also. Whenever you are good, when there is a stress of examination, you have lot of labor and then you get the good marks also. So a proper amount of stress is also very important. So acculturative stress, there is acculturative stress, the more radical and different host culture is in comparison to the newcomer native culture, the more acculturative stress will be experienced. And there's a very famous model about Lazarus and Kohn about the stress and adaptation paradigm. Acculturative stress is a stress reaction in reaction to the life events. So the process encompasses three sub-processes. What is that? Cultural shedding, cultural learning, and cultural conflict. Out of these two processes, that is cultural shedding and cultural learning, they are not so difficult and they don't create any problem. Easily you can shed your cultural things, adopt different things. You can learn how to eat with the churi kata, fork and all these things. You can learn all those manners. But the problem is with the cultural conflict. When you experience the cultural conflict, then the person has to really work. And large group of individual differences also come how people in both groups in contact go about their acculturation process. They would adopt the integration, they would adopt separation, assimilation, or the marginalization. The outcome of pursuing assimilation and separation experience intermediate level of stress and adaptation. Out of this discussion, which may be a little bit heavy for those who are not from psychology, literature, or the discipline, the two things emerge. This is the two dimension of the acculturation process. Preference for maintaining one's heritage culture and the relative preference for contact and participating in the larger society. There are certain studies also. I have not deliberately put so many studies, only two studies I would like to refer. That is by Ryder, Allen and Paulus, 2000, supported this two-dimension approach. Berry and his colleagues in 2006, they studied 5,000 immigrant youth who have settled in 13 countries and assessed the four ways of acculturating ethnic and national identities like this integration, assimilation, marginalization and separation. And the largest number of the youth fell in integrated culture. That's why the scene which we are having in today, that Indian diaspora, they are succeeding. Why they are succeeding? Because they have managed their conflict with adopting the integration strategy. The largest number of youth in integrated, the second largest was in separation and rejection of the assimilation also. So separation, yes, we are separate, we are different, we have formed our own organization for the sake of the benefit and the welfare of our own people. There are so many organizations going on over there. And the diffused, which I was talking earlier, is cluster emerged resemble marginalization. They accepted assimilation, separation and marginalization, rejection and integration. So they were confused lot. Now the second question arises, by adopting this acculturation process, is there any complete integration? It's not easy. It goes on phases. The first phase is how, like in first slide I showed that there is a cultural shock.
On कर नहीं ऑन कर दो ना, 2 मिनट चलने दो, चलते हुए आप लोग काउंट करते रहो.
And in America, they had to keep their children in it. When the school inspection is there, the inspector is coming, then all children will behave very properly. So the same strategy they have adopted over there. When there is inspection, when they have to fill the form, they will say, yes, yes, we have different baby room and our children are there. Learning how to protect their interest and how to project their identity outside. Then the third phase is that understanding of how cultures enrich and acceptance of. Then the third for a quite long. You have to accept it, and that comes sometimes consciously and sometimes unconsciously. So what happens when you start perceiving positive things? And when you start perceiving positive things, then you see that okay, they are hard workers, and we should also learn. So we are hard workers. We don't get opportunity here in India, and when there is a facility, that same hard work is there, the same culture is there, and then they get everything and they succeed. So the third phase is that we can see what happens in acculturation and adaptation. Little more psychology. Identification. We identify. And the whole question is of the identification. A strong relationship with the one culture does not necessarily imply a weak relationship with the dominant culture. So those two things are lost origins and homeland. We live in one place, but we always identify our lost lands. When Holi will come there, then Diwali will come there, we will celebrate, but we will always remain here. So that will be always there. Identification. Then there is a constant negotiating also. Negotiation also goes. And how this negotiation goes on? When we meet, or the diaspora person meet in the host culture, then they organize events, like music and all these things. Then people start coming in those events. This is like how Ravi Shankar was famous. That most Western people were coming in his concert in comparison to the Indian. But those Indians, those who are living there, they would always make a point that anywhere, anything is going to happen in India, in America, Indian thing, they would try to attend that. So that is negotiated. And change in continuity. Change is in atmosphere and continuity is in our joint family system. And this is again, for first generation, this is the adaptation strategy. But for the second generation, this is creating a problem. They would always say same practices, and then they would say you have to do this, you have to do this, and then the growing children will question, why mom, why can't we go with problems they are facing? But they want to continue with their own familiar bonds, dependence, loyalty, and all these things. Religious. I said that I will not talk to some extent religion. But religion is such an religion is also a lot of help for the assimilation. All these things. Just now I told you that these things are there. Two emerging trends are coming. First generation Indian diaspora, they are settled, they have managed their conflict, now they know that they can't go back, but every year they will go back and they will revive, they will take their oxygen and then go back again. But those who are living there, for them something should be done. So they are engaged in philanthropy. Wadhwani Foundation is one like that. Silicon Valley, Ramesh Wadhwani, he was the main person. Then Desh Pandey, he is also doing quite a lot job. Sanjay Mehrotra, Ajay Banga, all these name you, young people, modern people must be doing all this, and I need not to repeat all these things. The second generational conflict is that influences the development also. A, B, C, D. American born confused Desis. Desi is the term you must, you can't say that who belongs to where. Indian faces, American faces, white faces you can distinguish, but some mixed faces you can't. So person asks, are you Desi? The moment you say Desi, there's a click. So this confused term described by the psychological state of second generation attitude. The second generation, they are born there. Now what happens? They go to school. Then in some families, non-veg is not recommended. And people say, no, non-veg is not good. But why mom? Why can't? Then the non-veg dating problem, friends problem, night party problem, pub problem, all these problems are coming up, and Indian parents, they don't know how to handle them. The moment a girl is 10-year-old or 11-year-old, the mothers sleep out. Mother can't sleep now. And then she will be policing every activity of that, and that creates the reaction. The more you watch, the more restriction you put on, the more rebellious these. And then they would say that all these rebellious techniques you have learned from the host culture. So it's a kind of confusion. The parents also don't know what to do with these children, and the children also don't know why their parents are behaving like that. But this is one side. There's another side, how this young generation they are managing. They are, okay, we have problem with our parents, we can convince them, but we want to go in our own way. So there are persons, young generation persons, who are coming in different fields, like in music, art, creativity. Deepa Mehta, she's not young, she's a filmmaker, but yes, somehow she has tried to depict all these things. Then there's a dancer, Manpreet. When I was surfing the net, I saw these Manpreet, and she's rocking Punjabi Bhangra over there. These two friends, they are there. Then there's a person, Preston Merchant. He is in photography, second generation diaspora. He came to India and he fell in love with India. So acculturation is not only about the diaspora, but about the host culture also. So when the both are in one, there is a changes. If we sum up all this story, then how do we construct our reality? The constructing reality the Indian way. This is just like melting pot. that things are melting and going into one pot, and Indians have become Americans, Canadians after initial turbulent struggles, and they have made America and Canada little more Indian, creating new families while retaining old bonds a little more tightly. There's a small poem which I would like to, which will tell you the whole story. The stranger within my gate, he may be true or kind, but he doesn't talk my talk. I can't feel his mind. I see the face and eyes and mouth, but not the soul behind. The men of my stock, they may do ill or well, but they tell me lies I wanted to. They are bruised to the lies I tell. They are bruised to it. And that's all. Vatan is Vatan and Mitti is Mitti. Where are we?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the very exhaustive talk on conflict management in Indian diaspora. And if you wish to have a little discussion in the form of questions, I may just point out 2 or 3 basic things that she has done in her talk. She started with the general life patterns of Indians, their behavior patterns, their beliefs, and their habits, their nostalgia. So I would say that the first point that she made was interspersing the Indian social and individual diasporic experience abroad. And the second important thing that she has done very exhaustively in her talk is the psychological theorization. So psychological theorization of these experiences, and occasionally she has talked about literature also. And I was quite interested in that because I worked on Naipaul long back for my PhD, Rushdie, and there are so many other writers. Anyway, literature and psychology, incidentally, they have a very strong relationship now. So, what she has done outstandingly in her talk is that she has gone very deep into theorizing what we understand by these things like acculturation or conflict or possibilities of resolving the conflicts, diasporic conflicts, of migration particularly, and the quest for adjustment in host cultures, host societies. And then she has talked about the problems of generations, first generation, second generation, third generation, and extensively quoted the psychological scholars and experts in their lectures. So all in all, I think it has been a great feast for many of us who are not strictly students of psychology. I'm sure the students of psychology and the teachers of psychology who are sitting here already must be knowing, must be aware about many of these things. So this is a very exciting field. And I do hope, on behalf of Center for Diaspora Studies, that some people out of your department, Dr. Vandana Sharma, would do their research on diaspora from a psychological point of view. Shall we have her talk before the discussion?
I don't have a talk.
You have to speak as
I
well.
just share on my experience.
Okay. We would like to have a small 10-minute discussion with the permission of the Vice Chancellor, in case there are any questions or observations.
With a mic, and mic.
And please announce your name and
I'm Kamalpreet. I am an assistant professor in the Department of Psychology here. Ma'am, usually we talk about acculturation in a very positive sense, that this is the right way. But can it be, there may be negative consequences such as cognitive dissonance or feeling that are we being fake when we're trying to adapt to both cultures? That are we putting a different front in front of other people but internally? Or is it just all positive and all of these things that go because of integration?
If we go through the dynamics of the cognitive resonance, it is the cognitive, whenever you experience the cognitive resonance, how you resolve it? You change your attitude. So you change your attitude, and the moment you change your attitude, your cognitive resonance is resolved and you get the well-being. So that is same thing is happening here, that there is you have to do something outside and you are doing, but there is a sense of identity also. Now you know that you are purposely doing it. So when you are doing purposely it, then there is no cognitive dissonance. Let me tell you one thing, the psychologist who introduced this term cognitive dissonance, Henry Tajfel, and he said on the basis of his experience that in India, people don't experience cognitive dissonance as such. Because politicians, they go into the slums and then they hold and all these things and they show everything, and when they come back to the home, they put their clothes in Dettol and Savlon water. So cognitive dissonance is there, but they resolve it.
We are very adjusting.
We are very adjusting. Adjusting is a very common term. When you say adjust, then there is a compromise, there is a sacrifice also. And the moment you say sacrifice, it has a negative connotation. The moment you say compromise, it has a negative connotation. Similarly, the cultural shock also. When you say cultural shock, it has a negative. Shock is a negative. But the moment you say acculturation, then you understand that there is a process is involved there. There will be something. You see, whenever there is a disease, and the doctor suggests you that you have to go to the operation. So what happens operation? Anybody enjoys the operation or the needles or the surgery or the cuts and all these things. But after that, what happens? You are recovered. So it's just like an operation. And there the essence you have to keep, the identity you have to maintain. Main problem happens when you are confused about the identity, who you are.
Anyone else?
Ma'am, I'm Dr. Dana from the Department of Distance Education. The subject is psychology. Ma'am, like there have been a number of cases that come up, like in abroad I have a few relatives and friends. The second generation conflict, it's so difficult to resolve by having your own identity also. Like again, the adolescent children when they are, in the family, how to resolve that? Because it's the question of keeping your values, your identity, and still, you want to adjust to the other culture also. So why we are so rigid over there, or what should be the strategy of the parents or the adolescents, like how they should be brought up?
Good question. But just a moment, I would request you to reflect, isn't it not happening in India also? Because the second generation problem, now the word is one. The globalization has come here and the globalization word is one. All those problems which are the problems of US are the problems of the elite community or the educated class in India also. And the first generation or the parents, they have gone there, they have integrated them. Now it is the second phase. Then they have to change their attitude, then they will adopt their own policies. So the continuous process of adaptation and assimilation. Adaptation and assimilation. In assimilation, the process of adaptation is like you from psychology, then the different informations are coming on and they are disturbing your schema. So when there is a disturbance, then you will we will be motivated for the consonance kind of thing or the balance kind of thing. And then you change your attitude and then you assimilate. So here also the parenting workshops are very important. Now instead of the generation, it is very important for the parents. In distance education you are there. In Allahabad, in education department we are concentrating on parenting program. There is a program which we have started about storytelling program. It's very simple program, storytelling program for children. But the purpose is, it is an indirect method in the sense we invite children along with the dadi or dada or the parents. So they come here and we simply do for 10 days tell some stories to children. And in those stories, interesting stories, rat and mouse and all these things, there are certain values hidden which you want to say. When you say do this, then it will be in order. But when you just put the grains, and those grains are received by the children, and by those workshops children are accepting those things and parents are, मैम I never realized, मुझे नहीं पता था, अब 10 दिन के बाद हम लोग बहुत मिस करेंगे, आपको ऐसी वर्कशॉप और करनी चाहिए. So these things are going on, then the parents need to be awakened. They have to understand the need, otherwise they will become rebellious. So you will be cut from the own roots and you will lose your children also.
Ma'am, you talked of insularity.
Insularity.
If we look at any diaspora, whether it's Indian or Punjabi diaspora, no doubt there are success stories. But when we look at the bigger picture, most of the diaspora, they live in the ghettos. There are certain success stories who live in the metropolitan city, but when they live in the ghettoization of their culture, their language, or their literature. On the one hand, we talk of acculturation, but on the other hand, they are living in the ghettos, don't mix with the mainstream, don't interact much. Don't we think that if you look at the Tower Hamlets, Solva briefly, don't we think that it is the self-inflicted insularity, self-restriction?
Exactly, you have answered your own question by yourself. There is a strategy of separation. They know their identity, who they are and where they are living, and they don't have much opportunity to interact with the mainstream culture also. So they are happy in their own culture. So they have maintained, adopted that separation strategy. And separation.
Then why such hue and cry about that we are being marginalized?
Marginalized people are different. In 4 strategies, there are people who experience marginalization. These are the persons who neither accept because they have left the India, so they don't accept don't appreciate the Indian culture, and they are not able to adjust there also. So they feel marginalized, and this is the hue cry from those people. But those people who are living in their ghetto, it is just like in India, people are living also like that, and here in India also, but they don't project their image to India, that we are living in such a condition. So they depict the rosy picture over there, and they are happy in their own identity, in separate identity.
Just one thing before we close, I want to say something to Dasir, that what we are talking about ghettoization and all that, I think that is also dependent on the class structure that we have. There are different classes responding to diasporic experience, different. So if you talk about lower class structure, their thinking will be entirely different. And they are not allowed something beyond that. This is the thing. Now if there are no more questions, I would request Dr. Vandana Sharma, the guest of honor, to say a few words. She is very reluctant to say anything. I said you have to speak a few words.
Respected Vice Chancellor, Dr. Singh, Dr. Anjali, Dr. Tejendra ma'am. It's a sort of conflict for me also. I don't know whether I'm a host or a guest. So that was the point which was making me a little confused, whether I have to say something or I have to just sit and listen to other people. But anyway, Dr. has resolved my conflict that I have to say something. Okay? So the first thing which I would like to say here is the kind of environment, the kind of views, the kind of issues Dr. Anjali has taken and the way she has dealt with them. She has created a kind of aura which gives a sort of opportunity to all of us to think about what is all this about. Here, as the title itself suggested, it was more concerned with uprooting and rerouting. These words are very, very horrible kind of words. Just uprooting something, किसी चीज को जड़ से उखाड़ना, and rerouting something, फिर उसको किसी दूसरी जगह पे लगाना. All these things, they are not just simple words. They need different kind of care. When you are uprooting something and rerouting it somewhere else, it needs different kind of care. दूसरी तरीके की खाद, पानी, हवा, जलवायु और क्या-क्या things which are needed here. So all these things, maybe that uprooting and rerouting we have decided to do, but all these external factors are not at all in our hands. So the thing is that reaccommodation, re-assimilation and re-acculturation, these are the 3 points. And then again the way she did talk about the cultural context, the environmental context, the psychological context, emotional context, social context, which are very much different. So taking something from individualistic culture to collectivism, or taking something from pure collectivistic culture to individualistic culture, these things are not as easy as we are sitting here talking about them. Here I would like to share a couple of my experiences also, not taking much time. Everybody knows about Ustad Bismillah Khan. He's a known figure. I don't need to tell who is he, but Shehnai Badat. He went abroad, you know, he was a big man in this area. He went abroad and then there he gave his performance, and then people, organizers, they said कि sir आप यहीं आ जाएं. तो he said कि मैं नहीं आ सकता, नहीं आप आ जाएं. नहीं मैं नहीं आ सकता, नहीं आप आ जाएं. मैं नहीं आ सकता क्योंकि मेरा बहुत बड़ा परिवार है. हम आपके परिवार को यहाँ ले आएंगे. वो बोले मेरी बहुत गाय भैंस सब कुछ है. बोले हम सब उनको ले आएंगे. बोले मेरा बहुत बड़ा झोपड़ा है. बोले हम सब उनको ले आएंगे. तो then he asked one thing, गंगा ला पाओगे? So that is गंगा ला पाओगे? They said कि नहीं वो नहीं ला पाएंगे. That's it. So this is what. अब देखिए he decided he would have become a millionaire or what else, but he decided not to get himself uprooted and rerouted from one culture to another. Then another example of my own colleague, Dr. Nalwa, my all colleagues are sitting here. She used to go abroad along with her family, and she used to share her own experiences. कि मैम हम वहाँ जाते हैं, but I keep crying, and everybody keeps asking me, why are you so sad? Your whole family is there. But she used to say, नहीं, still there is something which is missing here. So let us go back. And then she used to say कि whenever we used to come back, ऊपर जहाज से वो तम्बाकू बनाते हुए लोगों को देखना न्यू दिल्ली एयरपोर्ट में, that used to give me such an experience. Yes, I have come back to. And she used to share this experience also, that sensing, smelling the things that you have come back to your own people. So she would have preferred staying abroad, but she did not. What was there? My own another colleague, she said, recent example, that the whole family, like outside, I don't know because I have not been to the foreign countries, but beating children is something which is not in the hands of parents, as it is something very common in our culture. So whenever the father used to do like this, so children, they used to threaten the father कि अभी हम 100 whatever number 199 मिला देंगे. So father was quite annoyed because basically he was having that kind of mentality from India कि whenever कुछ गलत हुआ तो लगाया. So but then he planned the thing. He said this is Diwali coming, so let us all go to India. They were very happy that we are coming back to India. They all came back to India, and as soon as they entered the airport, he started bidding them. They said, "Hun pula 100, hun laga 100." So the thing is, things are so different, but still we are preferring. And who are the people preferring? I have got my own experiences where people, they have come back. They say, no. What for I am there for money? No. For land? No. For property? No. Then what for? Safai? Generally people come back, and if you ask them, if I want, just share your experience, they devote a lot of time, and then they ultimately say, udhar safai bahut hai. So that is what. So then he said, ki safai? Said no. Then what for you are here? What for I am here? Let me come back. So the thing is, it is dash here and dash here, and you have to calculate, you have to measure the cost you are paying for staying there and the benefit you are going to get for staying there. So the thing is, if the benefit comes out to be more, that is your position, your power, your money, earning there and then buying property here, you decide to be there only. And if your roots, as Dr. Anjali said, your emotions, मिट्टी की महक, वो तम्बाकू का बनाना देखना, वतन की मिट्टी है, she concluded and this thing, if these things are important, so maybe that वो जो आपका total बनता है ना, cost plus benefit, cost minus benefit, benefit minus cost, so whatever the total comes out to be, that makes you, this is not my personal decision, that makes you to decide आखिर क्यों, अगर इतना सब कुछ वहाँ पे बुरा है तो फिर भी हम वहाँ क्यों रह रहे हैं? अगर इतने हमारे मिट्टी हमारे लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है, इतनी खुशबू इम्पोर्टेंट है, इतना गंगा हमारे लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है, तो फिर हम क्यों रहे? और गंगा इम्पोर्टेंट थी, डिसीजन वाज नो, मिट्टी इम्पोर्टेंट थी, डिसीजन वाज नो, तो जो रह रहे हैं शायद उनके भी कुछ अपने पॉइंट्स होते होंगे. So giving these ideas to all my fellow beings over here, to my faculty, to my students, I wonder here only, just, giving you patience listening to whatever they say. Thank you so much.
Now,
Ma'am.
privilege to listen to the Honorable Vice Chancellor.
First of all, extend my sincere thanks to Anjali ji for giving us a wonderful talk on a very important topic with regard to diasporic